Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera.
Hello. I am so glad that you are here tonight. I am excited, as always, about my guest. And let me bring her up. Hello, Marlo. How you doing? How are you today? And while she is preparing her sound,
Hi,
I am going
Vera.
to. Hi, how are you? I'm going to play your
I am
commercial
so much.
so that
Yes,
others will
okay.
know a little bit about you. So let me play that right quick. Yes. Marlo Mans, the author, musician, artist, and just so many other things. And you know what, Marlo? I am going to let you share with our audience a little bit about you and talk about your background, your journey, and share your story. So I'm going to give you the platform. And rather than me introduce you, I want you to tell your story and how it is that you became this publisher, this author,
Okay.
and talk about your theater and dance and well music and all of the things that you do. So I'm going to turn it over to Marlo.
Okay, awesome. I'm so glad to be here today. My journey started off nothing like I would expect it. My whole goal was to work as a pediatric nurse. That's what I was going to school for, and that's what I had planned to do with my life. But it didn't turn out that way. What happened was I ended up getting ill in a hospital not once but twice, to the point where the doctor requested that I never come back in healthcare again. And it was devastating to me because I had worked so hard, and I was tutoring nurses, and I was a nurse student myself, and I was on campus, and I loved it so much. But it's something that I realized, hindsight, that God had something better for me. And so I pivoted from pediatric nursing to going into actually technology place, and I worked there, and they told me that if I wanted to stay in there and continue my education, that I was to take up something that is going to enhance the company. So I was like, what could it be? Because the only thing I had in my background was science, chemistries, biologies, and I didn't really have any, writing experience except, when you chart and in the patient files. And so what happened was I came up to my supervisor. I said, "Well, I just don't know what to do." I said, "What is it?" And he says, "You know what? Take public relations, and public relations will help you be able to do something in any company that you go to. And or even if you stay with us, it will enhance us also." So I said, okay. So I took public relations and journalism, and I really liked it. It was fun. I got a chance to do a lot of photography, talking to people, working with company and products, and seeing how the production line work. I was what they call, I worked at Six Sigma Quality, and I was what they call a quality person. And so it was fun, and I really liked working with the engineers and all the people that was in corporate communication. It was fun for me. But then one day I got into an accident. And when that accident happened, it really changed my life. Um, it changed my life because I did not know what else to do. I mean, I was in so much pain. It's not that the accident was as horrible as it was. It's just like the way that I was hit. I was hit from behind, and when I was hit, I every time I moved, it was painful. So if I tried to walk, it was painful. Try to sit down, it was painful. So the most comfortable position for me was to lay on the floor, and my bed was too small for me to lay on. So I laid on the floor, and I had my little nephew with me. He was like my little
And you know, I
guide.
don't mean to
And
interrupt, but you're
we
breaking
sat,
up.
and looked at PBS and drew pictures and stuff like that. And we kind of like had a competition, like I can have a better picture than you. And so, even though he was 3 years old,
He was
anytime, huh?
he was 3 years old. You're for some reason your voice is breaking up. So
Oh,
we're
I'm breaking
hearing
up.
bits and pieces of what you're saying.
Okay.
So
Is that better?
I don't I don't know what's causing that. We didn't have this problem when we were practicing. Um okay. So let me reiterate what you just said. When you got into this accident, you couldn't
Yes.
lay down, you couldn't stand, you couldn't sit. All you could do was lay on the floor. And as a result of that, at the time you had your nephew who was 3 years old, and he would lay there with you, and you guys would play these little games and do artwork and that kind of stuff. Now, why don't you take it from there? And hopefully, I'm trying to give the audience an idea of what it was you were saying as you were breaking up. So let's try this again. Uh, All right. The devil is a liar. Come on now. Let's get this right. We've been talking prior to this show, and now all of a sudden it wants to act up.
After
Nah.
that, writing
We can't hear you.
stories
I tell you what,
and points
I'm having a really
and
hard time hearing you.
with him on the floor all the time.
We're having technical difficulties, so let us I tell you what, Marlo,
My
Marlo,
family, my especially my mom said, you
Marlo,
should go.
we're having technical difficulties. So,
Well,
what?
I can't
Yes?
and we're
Oh my
doing
goodness.
the show. I loved it. At more to
We're only hearing bits and pieces of what you're saying. We getting just
in
snippets
the
of what
motivate
you're saying.
me because I didn't know what.
S- All right. So, audience, we're having some technical difficulties here. I'm going to reiterate what I know Marlo was trying to say. She's talking about the fact that
Better
her
if I put it
her profession, she was a nurse. And as a result of an accident, she could no longer do that work and ended up being a publisher and writing children's books. Now, Marlo, okay. And I know that you're going to be a speaker at the Level Up conference that is coming up on March 25th through the 27th. And if any of you are interested, I want to encourage you to sign up for the Level Up conference. Marlo is a speaker. I am also a speaker, along with many, many, many other speakers and people that are being showcased. Jody Watley is going to be there, and you can sign up at www.time2 the number 2 levelup.com. And so I know, Marlo, you're going to be talking about my heart new love, and we're going to just share with our audience what we mean by that, my heart new love. So let's
I
try
can
you
hear.
talking again. You can't hear me either.
Yes, we'll roll with it.
Okay, all right, so
Okay.
go ahead now, go ahead.
Okay. So after that happened, uh
We're not
let me
hearing
see.
anything.
If I talk with let me see.
What seems to be the problem?
I could try I could try some,
Okay. Well, audience, we
let
kind of
me
got a
see.
problem here. Okay.
Yes.
We've got some technical difficulties going on. So, Marlo, you want to try? We hardly heard any of your story because you kept breaking up. You want to try saying something now? When you go live, you can expect anything to happen. And so right now we're having some technical difficulties with Marlo's sound. We did not have this problem
I
an
hear you.
hour
Getting what I'm
ago.
saying.
You can hear me okay? Okay. So go ahead. Start finish see if we can hear you now.
Okay.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, and we can hardly see your face. You need to lift it up a little. There we go. And you know what? Why don't you try just holding your phone like we had talked about you doing in the first place? Try holding your phone and then try talking to me and see if that will work. When you go live, you can expect anything to
Well,
happen.
okay, so and I
Oh,
was also working
yes.
at a department store, which is my first job after the accident. Can you hear me now?
Oh
Are you hearing
yeah,
me okay now?
I can, but we lost so
Oh,
much of your
because
story.
everything is
We
plugged up.
lost so much of your story. So
Um, okay. So
now we can't hear you. Okay.
I tell the enemy, get out of here. This story's coming.
Yes.
Okay. So after I went to the department first. Okay.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let's try it. Let me see. Is that better?
Now I hear you, but I don't see
Test,
you.
testing, one, three.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
So let me say this. It has been a journey, Vera. And it was not about journeys. Can you hear me better now? Okay, you're
Yes.
on your journey. It makes you look stupid, you know, because nobody, I don't know what is wrong. I don't understand. We're having a good time.
I
Okay, let me see.
know.
All right, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What I was saying is feel somewhat like am I making these decisions, and I am certain, and I could not allow fleshly people to make and take charge over my spiritual father's decisions for my life. And when I was, basically told not to come back to nursing because if I'm ill, I can't help anyone, it devastated me because I am a nurturer and I really wanted to help people. But this neurosurgeon told me, don't you ever come back. He says, because you can't help anybody if you're ill. And so I was really broken at that point. And when I those babies and I was taking care of those babies, I would be whispering prayers over them. I would say, you're going to grow strong. You're going to be awesome. You're going to have a king's heart. You're going to do all of the things you want in life. They were barely a month old. But
But
that's
you were
just the type
speaking
of heart
life
I
into
had.
them. Yes.
And so I truly was. And anyway, one day, I know they didn't hear a lot of the story, but one day I had decided while I was in theater, continue writing my books. I had wrote them on the floor, and several years had passed, and I said, I was director I was working with in theater. He says, when are we going to see some of your books? And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But I never just kept writing them. And then he says, we're going to put inside the program, you write children's books. Because that's what you do. As I haven't seen them, but I'm certain you're going to do it. So I decided to start publishing these books. Now, I had to learn and teach myself publishing because when I did get in touch with publishers along the way, they told me it would take 80% of the pay and that I will 10%. And I was like, what? I'm putting in all the work, all the research, I'm giving them everything, and I only get 10%. And I said, I got to learn how to do this for myself. Taught myself publishing while I was in theater school and doing shows, one woman shows and stuff like that. And then I decided I'm going to get serious about it. So I decided to go ahead and start looking for designers, and I got with the SBA, which is Smaller Business Administration, and the Women Development Center. And I start researching and then working for Plan for Profit. And meanwhile, I had just got an award at the department store, and I was the VP. But the VP told me that, you know what, we're gonna give you this role because you can do top sales, and you're constantly training people here. And so while I was doing that, I had got an award for outstanding customer service while I was in profit for profits. And my thing was, I just really felt serious that these books needed to be put out. And after that, I felt so comfortable. I knew what I know. You know, it's so good when you teach yourself things because you find out where all the flaws are at. And so I had uh, a, my family is big on history as far as art history. And so my mom, she always took us to museums and looking at art, and I ended up taking it in college also. So I knew what type of design that I wanted and what I wanted to focus on as far as artists drawing pictures. You know, I know I wanted the soft lines and not the hard lines. And I knew I wanted the eyes to be a certain way. And I studied so much, not knowing what I was going to do with it at the time. So I had the art behind me, I had theater and music behind me, and I also had poetry behind me. So next thing to do was just to put them all in one place, and that was the books. So I became so excited about it. And then when I said, well, what could my books, what I want to focus on? And the things that really kind of like hurt me when I was coming up is I seen parents talk to children just in such an awful way. And I could tell by me being in healthcare field, sometimes just thought they were doing such a good job. But I could like look at the child and I was like, my goodness, they don't even understand, they don't even have a language. So most of the time I would see stuff like that, it would just hurt my heart so bad. And I said, I need to find a way to tell parents that this child has a language from heaven, and they're trying to cross over to get into a language of earth. And so their thing is to imitate everybody around them so that they could be a better person in earth, because you say something to them and they like looking at, you know, is this what I'm supposed to do? You know, I remember one little girl, very upset, and I have interactive love courses. This one little girl said to me, "My mommy doesn't love me," and I said, "What?" I said, "That is not true. Your mommy, no, your mommy. I seen your mommy." She says, "No, no," and we're like in this class full of fun, so I wasn't really expecting. And she says to me, she said she haven't even thought about me.
She,
She haven't even thought about me. What do you mean? Her basically
wow.
we're at a table, kitchen table, and they said, "Girl, you wouldn't even thought about." And so she has a different language, right? And she's like saying, she's like thinking that her mom didn't think about her. And I said, no, no, that's not it. That's not what that means. So she thought that her mom never thought about her. I said, look at you. I said, like, how old are you? So she was around 7 or 8, I believe. And I said, see, you're 7 or 8 year old. You're not thinking about a baby right now, are you? She was like, well, I have my dad. She says, no, I'm not thinking about it. I said, so at that time, maybe your mom was a little girl and she just wasn't thinking about a baby. It doesn't mean she wasn't thinking about you. She loves you. She look at your pretty dress and your pretty hair. She loves you. It's just that when she was younger, she probably wasn't thinking about you then. I said, but guess what? Heaven was always thinking about you. God was always thinking about you. He knew your mommy and your grandmommy and your great grandmommy. All you all were thought about. So she like was like her eyes got so big. And she was like, Mommy, think about me. And so just that little bit of miscommunication, she had in her heart, in her inner child, that my mommy's not thinking about me.
You
And
see
if
that?
I hadn't made that small little correct, she probably would tend to have she would have had low self-esteem,
Absolutely.
probably, you know,
Absolutely. And
thinking that
you
somebody.
you're breaking up again. Um, I want to respond to what you're saying.
I can hear you.
Par- okay, parents oftentimes don't understand the little things that they say off the top of their heads. Kids are listening to that. And for a mother to say, I wasn't thinking about you, that is suggest, well,
Right.
this was an unexpected
Mm,
pregnancy because I hadn't planned. However, the mother should have came back and said, but I love you anyway. I love you, even though I might not have been thinking about getting pregnant. You're here and I love you. And so for a child to feel that a parent is not thinking about them, parents need to really think about what they're saying and how they're saying it, because kids, they take things at face value.
right.
They take things at face value. That's why your
Yes.
book, My Heart Knew Love, I Am Love, that book just helps people understand when you say, I am love. And just think, having children say that, I am love, I am love, I am love. Just think, if we had our kids saying that every day, I am love, I am love. That, and your book is all about that. Let me pull up your book, because it's I bought your books for all of my grandchildren, all of my great nieces and nephews, because that message it's a universal message that needs to get out to the world. And so I want you to kind of talk about, and I know
Yeah.
the nephew that you talked about spending that time and doing the artwork with, and all of that. And I know that you recently lost him. And I know that that was a heartbreaking thing for you. But knowing that he contributed and was a part of your series, I Am Love, I Am Love. Just think, audience, I want you to just start saying, I am love, I am love. Just think. It's going to show all over your face. I am love. Let me hear you say it. I am love. Yes, I am love. I am love. I want you to see that, say that, and teach your children to say
Right.
that. I am love. Oh my God. Just think. We see a whole nother world if people started saying that. I am love. Because the more you say it, the more it's going to become a part of you, and the more other people are going to see it. And it could change the trajectory of this world. So, Marlo, you're also a part of the Level Up Conference, and you're going to be talking about love, aren't you? You're breaking up
Yes, I'm
again.
talking about the inner child. And yeah, it's so important because it doesn't stop your childhood. Your inner child follows you your whole life. And are you hearing me okay?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, now I
And when
am.
it follows you your whole life, uh, there could be There are people that are older who still hurting from childhood pain, And so one of the
Yes.
things is I kind of like about what the inner child is and how that they can reparent themselves, if they should need to go into therapy. But I kind of like want them to recognize that somebody say something and it hurts you. You got to think, why am I being hurt by that? And it's probably something that re-triggered, when you were a child. And I talked about this lady who I into a church and wanted to give her my book, and we kept missing each other. And as soon as she seen the book, she almost started crying. And I didn't understand why. And then she says, "That's me." When she was a young girl, her grandmother, which is a light-skinned woman, told her that she was bad and that she will always be bad and that she could never be good because her skin was dark. And so that triggers in her. And I told her I understood. And she said, so this book, who she thought she was getting for one of her grandchildren, she says, I'm going to get this for me. And so I understood why, and we talked about it. But the one thing that she wanted to let me know, and she was very upset at the time, is that that little girl was me back then, and I remember her. And so this lady was 89 years old all these years. She was getting this book from her for her granddaughter, and she ended up telling the story to her daughter about the things that her grandmother did to her, and that she was always considered bad. She got spankings for not doing anything, and she says, it really just hurt her to her heart, and her whole life was because different, because she went through her whole life feeling that she could never be pretty or never be you know happy, always be dark skin. So those are the kind of things that inner love, that I have in my book, I focus on, because love is the seed planet, and it can uproot things that are bad. Love is the strongest thing in earth. It can uproot seeds, but they have to be planted. And so my whole thing is to plant seeds of love. And I want people to help me. Please help me plant these seeds of love in our children. So as they grow, the bad grows with the good, and the good will uproot the bad, so that they will continue to have these love seeds within them. Now, it doesn't mean
Absolutely.
that they will never have storms of life, because it rains on the just and the unjust, right? But they can handle things much better when you have that love with you. And so that's what I concentrate on, is just letting people know, let's plant these seeds of love in our children. The ages that these seeds are come to life are between the ages from probably 2 all the way up to around 12. That's when those seeds need to be planted. Planted in their mind. Plant the seed of love within their minds. Let them know who they are. Help them to grow, encourage, so as they continue to grow, that love will grow stronger. It won't be a seed anymore. It'll be a big, full tree,
Yes.
strong and mighty within them. And that's the thing I focus on.
And
And
the
that's
thing
what
is,
I really want to get out my series.
absolutely. And I want to touch
Yeah,
on
Vera.
something that you said when you talked about this woman in her 80s and the fact that because she was a darker hue and her grandmother was a lighter skinned person. And let's face it, that is an issue in our communities a lot of times. I remember dating a guy that told me, "You're the darkest girl I ever dated." And what does that mean? And so the skin color issue is an issue in our communities oftentimes. And I think that stems back from slavery when, the darker skins were put in the field and the lighter skins were put in the house. And so that stigma of skin color has been an issue. We got a listening audience. Hi, Fuchina. Good to see you. She says, good evening, Queens. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're talking about love. Now, Fuchina came on last week to kind of pitch in for you because we had some difficulties last week. But
Yeah.
appreciate you, Fuchina. Thank you for being here. And Marlo's talking about her books. She's talking about being a part of the Level Up Conference. And she's talking about getting in touch with your inner child, regardless of your age. Getting in touch with your inner child, regardless of your age. And I think that's what kind of helps to keep us young when we are able to tap into that inner child, which includes being loving, being kind. And also, another thing I want to say to those of you that may be focused on what other people are saying about you, remember, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. So just because people are saying certain things about you, just because people are responding or reacting to you differently, don't allow that. And let me say that again, don't allow that to impact on how you see yourself. That's why Marlo's books are so important because it's teaching us to recognize that I am love. Inside of me, there is love. Inside of me, there is confidence. Inside of me, there is that assurance of who I am and whose I am. And so, Marlo, I didn't mean to take over, but I wanted to just kind of get that point across because so often we allow other people to dictate who we are. And we don't have to do that. I used to do it. And it took me a while to understand you don't have to do that. And Futina, she says, learn to graduate from people. I love it. Learn to graduate from people. People's opinion about is their problem, not yours. And please understand that. Just because a person is saying something about you, that's their problem, not yours. All right, Marlo, take it over again.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted also to do that because I want a new society. And I know that's a big dream, but God says you can have that. And he said he'll help me with that. I want a new society. And tell me this, how long were black people told about their lips, about their eyes, about their nose, about the color of a paper bag. And how long would that have gone through generations? And people are still talking about it today. It's true. But I want other people to know that you can start a whole new generation of letting younger kids know just because you are a different hue, and we know from the lightest light to the darkest dark, just because you are a different hue does not make you different as far as opportunities, as far as talent, as far as creativity, expectations, dreams, joy, happiness. That outside color don't determine that. And so that's what I want the kids to know is that you're beautiful no matter what you color you are. But the strongest thing to know is put that identity with their name. So that will not be a stigma. So if someone come up to them and say, "Oh, you this," and you say, "No, that's not who I am," That's who you are.
Yes.
And be able to
And
stand in their strength, you know?
yes. Now, Fucina, she says, Marlo, what nuggets would you offer for people who are suffering from skin insecurity? I like that word, from skin insecurities.
The number one thing is for them to know that your skin do not determine the opportunities that you have, and other people around you will do the things they're supposed to do and to take those stigmas off. The number one thing is to recognize that you are loved. And that person that you might not like, that might be a dollar, guess what? They are loved too. And just because your skin is a different, doesn't mean that you said you should pick one person over the other. But we really need to stop that. And the only way to stop that is for us to pick people according to their character. Not so much as you are this color light skin, you're this color dark skin. You're beautiful no matter what. Your human kindness make you beautiful. And
Yes.
your joyful laughter make you beautiful. And things like
Y-
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that,
It's really important. Um, could you imagine,
yes.
it's really about them recognizing you as a person. Yeah. And kids, they get these stigmas because an adult put that out in their head.
Absolutely.
Just don't
And
say, hey, I'm like you
absolutely.
because your skin is darker.
Absolutely. And I experience, like, I have a lot of grandkids, and they're different hues. And I remember my lighter skinned granddaughter made reference to skin color about her sister who is darker. And I could not believe, and she heard that from somewhere or seen it somewhere where whether you're light or dark can make a difference. And I told her, oh, no, 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 no. Your sister is just as beautiful as you are. And it's not about the skin color, it's about what's inside your heart. And so I don't ever want to hear you compare based on skin color. That I could not believe it. It broke my heart. And I had to be very clear that just because you may be a little bit lighter does not make you a little bit better or any better than
Mhm.
your sister. I mean, it's an issue. And I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many people that I have ran across that thought they were ugly because they were dark. Black is beautiful. And like Futina said, it's a generational curse. We gotta stop it, people. We gotta stop it. All right. I'm sorry. I kind of get off on a
Yes.
tangent. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, Marlo. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love love. I'm going to give my speech. And people will know it is your love that makes you stand out. It is your
Yes.
love that gives you the light. It is your love that
Yes.
gives you creativity. It is your love that teaches you to be kind, human kindness. I mean, I don't know anybody blood that is purple. I don't know anybody blood that is green. I don't know anybody blood that is orange or yellow. We all bleed red.
Bleed red. Yes.
And
We
it
all
is
bleed
not
red.
to do with the outcome you walk
Yes. And Futina, she said, people
right,
have
and
people
people
have this false reality
need to know
that white is
it
right. Not
hard.
okay. Yes, there is a delay with
Mm-mm.
Marlo. We've been having that problem all night, actually. Um, but Yes, breaking the generational curse, understanding that it's not about our skin color, it's about what's in our hearts, it's about the love, because love that's in comes out and shines bright. It shines bright, so having that love, and we have got to love on each other. We've got to show love. And people that that you're
Yes.
close to, tell them, I love you. Tell them, I love you. You may be the only
Yeah.
person
I'm
telling them that you love them. And that's why I'm coming back to Marlo's books. That's why her books are
yeah.
so significant because they're talking about being love. Being love. Just be love. Share love, give love, live love. Just think if our country did this. Just think if the world did this. I
Yeah.
get emotional about this because there's just so much hate and so much belittling and ridicule and name calling. It's got to stop, people. It's got to stop. Love is the key. And Marlo said that. Love is
Yeah.
the
It's
key. And the only way to change our society for tomorrow, but the process must begin today, today, today. We must decide our fate. Tomorrow may be forever. Too late, too late, too late. Don't let it be said too late. Think about that. All right, Marlon. Oh, I've lost her. Okay. Well, listen, she'll be back. But I just want to tell you guys, and I know you may get tired of this show talking about love, but if we don't change how we treat each other, if we don't change how we treat children, if we don't change how we treat ourselves, then we will implode. Again, we will implode. We have got to understand that love is the key. Love is the key. And you can't love anybody else if you don't love yourself. In fact, scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself. So, how do I get that self love? First of all, you can start by saying what's on the cover of Marlo's book. I am loved. Start telling yourself, I am loved. And watch yourself treat people in a different way. I am loved. Start telling yourself, I am loved. I am loved. Start speaking that into your existence. Please. We've got to change our society. And the only way we're going to do it is by changing ourselves. Reminds me of a story of a little boy. His father had come home from work and had brought all his work home, and the little boy wanted his attention. And the father knew he had this work to do. So the father took a magazine, tore a page that had a picture of a man on it, and he gave it to his son. And he said, look, Daddy's got some things to do, but I want you to sit here and put these pieces back together again. And when you've got it done, come back and then I'll have time to play with you. Well, the little boy sat and he put the pieces together, but then he recognized what was on the other side. And he came up to his dad all excited and he said, Dad, Dad, look, as soon as I got the man together, and he turned it around and he said, I got the world together. As soon as we get the man ourselves together, we can get the world together. But it's got to start with us. It's got to start with us inside. How are you feeling about yourself? Think about it. Think about it. Do you love yourself? And if you don't love yourself, then find someone to help give you the tool. I can help you with the tools. Marlo can help you with the tools. Futina can help you with the tools. If you don't love yourself, you need to touch base with us so that we can give you the tools to help you love yourself. You can't even really love your children if you don't love yourself because you're not going to be able to give them what they need if you don't love yourself. Self love. Start telling yourself, I am love. I am love. Start telling yourself that. All right, we're so glad you're back.
I
Okay.
love what you were saying.
Well, thank you. It's from my heart because, again, we have got, I mean, look at what's happening in Ukraine, all because of hate, all because of jealousy, all because one man wants to control the world.
I
And it's
know.
not going to
It's
happen.
awful.
It's just not going to
I know.
happen. And so we have got to show love. We have got to be love. We have got to give love. We have got to get Marlo's books.
Yeah.
I am
You know
love.
that yes, it's the book I Am Love is for affirmations for all ages. And the one thing I like about that book is it's like a repetitive heartbeat. It's like love, boom, love, boom, love. I mean, if you were to read it, like this little girl read it for me, and she read it so fast. And I said, "What did you?" I said, "Well, what did you get out of?" She went so fast. She says, "I am love. That's all I need to know." I laughed so hard.
Yes. Yes. And
But you
Fushina
know what,
said,
Vera? Just think about all the little boys. I did some research, and it was I seen it on one of the news shows when they talk about our African American boys, and that at that time there were crime as far as them having the expectation of life. They were dying at 90% faster. And it was so heartbreaking for me to hear that our African American boys coming in here not believing that they're going to live to 18. And they were just basically somewhat to me exploding from the inside out, and they were
yes.
dying at a faster rate. It was I think it's like 70%, but at one point they were dying at 90% of the rate of their counterparts. Could you imagine? You take all that time to bring a child into earth, and then they die before they're 18. And it was not a few, it was
I
90%.
know.
What
I
are
know.
they
And
hearing?
I
Are they
know. And
hearing
you,
that love? And 90%
I
African American
know.
boys leaving this earth
And
is devastating. Not,
it
not,
is. And I was doing a training in a school, and this little boy, little black boy, under his breath, he said, I can't stand to look at myself in the mirror. And I said, what did you say? He said, I can't stand to look at myself in the mirror. That broke my heart because when you think of our kids not being able to see the beauty that they have in themselves because of some adult possibly saying to them all the negative things that keeps them from recognizing the beauty in him. And it was, I mean, the way those other students rallied around that little boy and showed him so much love, the way the mothers rallied around this little
Yeah,
boy and showed him so much love. When you consider the second cause of death for 10-year-olds to 34-year-olds is suicide. The first cause is accidents. The second cause of death is suicide because kids are not feeling love, or they're being bullied, or they're feeling less than, or they're being told that they're less than. We got to get it together, people. We got to get it together. Love is the key. Love is the key. And Fucina, she said, check the man in the mirror first. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. What are you doing to show love? What are you doing to uplift other people? What are you doing to uplift yourself? Come on now. Come on now. This is real. This is serious. We got to change the trajectory. All this hate has got to stop. Get Marlo's book, I Am Love. Get Marlo's book for little boys that what's the name of the book again?
Every little thing,
Every
every little
little
thing,
thing.
think king. Think
Every little
king.
thing.
For
Think
the little,
king. Yes. Yes. Well, I'm telling you, Marlo, we're running out of time. I am going to give you the floor to share, and hopefully you'll be able to get what you want to say across without us breaking up. And forgive me for being emotional, but this stuff is real. I don't want to see children hurting. I don't want to see parents frustrated and
yeah,
angry to the point where they're yelling at their kids. They're belittling their kids or even the people in their relationships. Come on now. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. Futina said, teach them when they are young so that they will carry it when they are absolutely, absolutely. Teach them now. Come on now.
yeah.
And we're talking toddlers. We're talking 2 year olds. We're talking infants. Start speaking life into your baby. Start speaking life into, start telling your baby how beautiful, how loving, how kind, how sweet they are. Even if they're not talking, start speaking it. If you're pregnant, start speaking it into your stomach. This is real.
Yes,
All right, I'm gonna
yeah.
give it to you. Okay.
That's right. I completely understand. And it's really bad when you just want to see a little child, be a child, and you want them to talk like a child. You don't want to say to a 2-year old, "Where's your gun?" And he pull out
Oh,
this plastic water gun. Why even start training them that way? They shouldn't even know what a gun look like. They shouldn't be watching violence on TV. They shouldn't be using language like that. Those seeds that are planted will destroy them. Don't do that. These children that come into earth, they just came from heaven. They just came. And you have the opportunity to continue the love language that they have. Have you ever heard from the mouths of babes?
yes.
They say things that are heavenly. They don't know things of the earth. Teach them love. Teach them that love is kind. It is wonderful. One of the things I tell children when they work with me, I said, I want you to record your laugh. Now, adults can do that too. Record your laugh so you know that when you hear that record your laugh, it makes you laugh. Doing power up, I will give 3 main things that will help you, whether you're a child or adult, that will keep you along the road of having a light heart. These kids are carrying too much. They need their parents to pour into them a language of love. Some of the parents can't even be there to talk to them. But it's getting better. And I'm glad it's getting better. But watch what you say, because the language that you say to them, especially during the stages of planting seeds, will stay with them in their inner child their entire life. Know that
Amen.
you are the hero. You're the hero and you're the
Yes,
shero. So put that into
yes.
your child as a love language. Yes.
Listen, thank you.
And
We
keep
ran
and just
out of
keep her.
time. We have run out of time. I hope you guys
Yeah.
feel what we're saying. Not just listen to it, but feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel how important love is. Feel how important it is for you to love yourself because you can't love your kids if you don't love yourself. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. Scripture even says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Show love, be love,
Yeah.
give love. So that's what I'm going to end with tonight. Show love, give love, be love, and pick up Marlo's books. Her website is streaming. My Heart New Love. Get the books. I Am Love. Get them for your children and get one for yourself. God bless you all, and we'll see you again next week. Marlo, if you would just stick around for a minute, I would appreciate it. So God bless you all, and we will see you next week.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk